राई है।
DK राई राई RAI
RAI
राई। हाँ, तो हमें अभी अभी पता लगा
अच्छा
कि ये इतना सारा आर्ट वर्क जो है
हाँ जी
ये सब आपने किया हुआ है।
हाँ जी
आपने किया हुआ है। वो जो रॉक उधर पेंट करके रखा है, वो उधर जो बनाया है वो भी आपने बनाया है।
हाँ जी
और ये ट्री हाउस का डेकोरेशन जितना कुछ हुआ है ये सब आप ही ने किया है।
हाँ मैंने
और सब नेचुरल मटेरियल से बना हुआ है।
सब नेचुरल है।
हाँ, जरा कब आपने कहाँ से सीखा ये?
ये थोड़ा मैंने मेरे काल्पनिक से किया हूँ मैं ये थोड़ा अनुभव से
अपनी कल्पना से किया।
कल्पना से
तो जब आपने शुरू किया तो कितना टाइम आपको लगा ऐसा कुछ बना पाने में?
ये बनाने के लिए तो ऐसा ही हमें 3 महीने जैसा लगा।
हाँ
3 महीना लग गया
3 महीना लग गया।
सक्सेस करने के लिए।
हाँ हाँ हाँ।
3 महीने के बाद ये हमने सक्सेस कर दिया।
ये किसके साथ बनाया ये आपने? कौन सी चीज़ है?
ये तो नेचुरली है।
हाँ
ये मशरूम है, नेचुरल
मशरूम है।
जंगल में मिलता है।
तो उसको फिर आपने क्या किया? ड्राई किया?
इसको ऑटोमेटिक ये ड्राई नहीं होता है, पर इसको लेके थोड़ा इसको साफ करके रख दिया, थोड़ा इसको पॉलिश करके
हाँ
रख दिया ऐसा ही।
हाँ हाँ। तो बहुत सुंदर कलर आपने इसका निकाला है।
थोड़ा सा ये कलर इसका ये ऐसा ही कलर होता है ये। थोड़ा इसको ये टच उट लगा के इसको थोड़ा
सा ब्राउन
क्लियर आ गया है।
हाँ हाँ। तो और ये जो शेड बना है
हाँ जी,
ये कैसे किसका बनाया आपने?
ये जो क्या लौका बोलता है ना, लौकी का बनाया है इसको।
हाँ
जो ये सूख जाता है,
हाँ हाँ
उसके बाद ये अंदर के सब निकाल के
हाँ।
इसका थोड़ा होल करके लाइट डाल दिया इसको।
और इसको टफन अप करने के लिए कुछ, इसको हार्ड करने के लिए कुछ और कोई ट्रीट किया?
ये हाथों से भी हो जाता है ये।
हाँ हाँ।
ये नरम ही होता है ना।
हाँ नरम तो होता ही
हाथों से हो जाता है।
और ये नेक फिर कैसे बनाया आपने ऊपर इतना छोटा?
ये तो ऐसे ही होता है ना, नेचुरली ऐसे ही होता है इसको।
तो उसको भी ऐसे ही रखा हुआ है
इसको
जैसे
ऊपर छोटा नीचे बड़ा होता है ना।
होता है।
इसको ऊपर का काट के फेंक दिया है और इसका ये काट के ऊपर ढक दिया है।
और ये नीचे से काट के ये इसका वो बना दिया आपने, कवर बना दिया। तो
नीचे इसका भी थोड़ा ये छोटा, इससे भी छोटा होता है एक।
अच्छा,
ये लंबा वाला है,
ये लंबा वाला है। हाँ, एक गोल वाला होता है और एक कैसा वाला होता है। और ये वाला जो है
ये भी इसका ये ऐसा ही होता है, ये छोटा ही होता है।
हाँ।
इसका भी ये सब ऐसे लाइट बन रहा है अभी। ये सब ये बाद में निकाल देंगे। उसके बाद में इसका ये टोटली इसका बहुत सारा जमा करके बन रहा है इसका। अच्छा, सब इधर डालने से बहुत अच्छा
सब एक तरह का हो जाएगा
नेचुरली।
और ये जो ट्री हाउस का आइडिया है, ये भी आपका ही आइडिया है?
मेरा ये।
अच्छा, तो इसके बारे में आपने और क्या योजना बनाया हुआ है ट्री हाउस का?
अभी इधर बन रहा है ना,
क्या करने वाले हैं?
इधर ये एक्सटेंशन कर रहा है, बढ़ा रहा है। अरे ऊपर उधर से फिर ये एक्सटेंशन कर रहा है, हम बढ़ा रहा है इधर से।
इधर से बढ़ाएंगे?
ये
अच्छा,
यहाँ से बहुत उधर भी 40 फीट होगा आगे। उसमें भी एक बड़ा पेड़ है, उसमें भी इससे भी छोटा ऐसा ही साइड में ऐसा डाल के ऊपर बैठने के जगह बन रहा है।
अच्छा,
2-4 महीने के बाद में ये भी हम सक्सेस करेंगे।
अच्छा, और फिर उसके बाद घूमने के लिए क्या बनाने?
प्लान तो बहुत है हमारा, पर अभी सब पैसा की जमाना है। बाद में हम थोड़ा करके हम बनाएंगे।
तो ये काम सारे का सारा आप अपने आप ही कर रहे हैं या किसी और को भी सिखा रहे हैं? अपने किसी दोस्त को या अपने भाई को किसी को सिखा रहे हैं?
पहले तो हम ही खुद ही कर रहे हैं, बाद में हम दोस्त लोग को भी बोल रहे हैं करो, मेरे जैसे करो आप लोग भी। कहाँ है जगह है ना, हमें थोड़ा सरकार भी हेल्प करेंगे बोल रहा है।
सरकार हेल्प कर रही है? करेगी।
सरकार हेल्प नहीं किया, खुद नहीं कर रहा है अभी, इसलिए थोड़ा कर रहा हूँ।
पर सरकार ऐसे एनकरेज कर रही है कि सरकार तो जिनके पास कोई स्किल है अपना, वो इसको डेवलप करो और कुछ अपना बनाना शुरू करो, और सरकार पैसे का कुछ हेल्प करेगी।
बोल रहा है सरकार लोग भी बोल रहा है हम हेल्प करेंगे, पर इसका हम वो भी सिस्टम में जाना पड़ेगा ना। सिस्टम में जाके वो सरकार तो हेल्प करेगा, जाने से मांगने से तो हो जाएगा।
हाँ।
और अभी हमने सरकार को भी नहीं मांगा।
अच्छा।
इधर बहुत लोग आया है, मिनिस्टर लोग भी आ रहा है, बड़े बड़े लोग भी आ रहा है, डिपार्टमेंट का आदमी लोग भी आता है, वो लोग भी खुश होता है।
हाँ ना, बहुत अच्छा आपने काम किया।
युवा लोग ऐसा ही करके खाना चाहिए, बोलता है क्या सरकार।
न्यूजीलैंडर केम हियर,
हाँ
सारा पैसा आपको दिया है?
अभी तो नहीं दिया है, मैं खुद मेरा ही परिश्रम में कर रहा हूँ।
ऐसा
न्यूज़ चैनल भी, सिक्किम का न्यूज़ चैनल भी बहुत आया है इधर।
अच्छा, बहुत आए हैं न्यूज़ चैनल, टीवी चैनल आए हैं
पूछने के लिए कैसा बनाया, कैसा हो रहा है, बहुत आया है।
सबको इंटरेस्ट आ रहा है, सबको दिलचस्पी आ रहा है।
अभी ये सिक्किम में ऐसा कर रहा है वो फर्स्ट टाइम है ऐसा। अभी ये साउथ सिक्किम में तो ट्रियोस ऐसा नहीं मिलेगा, फर्स्ट है, इसलिए मिनिस्टर लोग भी इधर आता है, ऐसा हो गया है ना। युवा लोग ऐसा खुद करके खा रहा है, तो अभी जाना पड़ेगा, उसको पूछना पड़ेगा, हेल्प करना पड़ेगा।
तो आपका घर कहाँ है? इधर पास ही में कहीं है?
हाँ, मेरा पास ही है, थोड़ी 10 मिनट लगेगा।
अच्छा,
मेरा गांव है इधर।
गाँव है,
ये थोड़ा मेरा,
क्या नाम है आपके गांव का?
मेरा ये गांव का तो मामरिंग बोलता है।
बामरिंग?
मामरिंग मामरिंग बोलता है ये विलेज का नाम। और ये मेरा ही लैंड है ये।
अच्छा,
इसलिए हम थोड़ा कर रहे हैं।
बहुत अच्छा है, तो बहुत अच्छा लैंड का बहुत अच्छा यूज़ है ये। इससे अच्छा यूज़ तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता। तो आपने वो स्कूल कॉलेज भी कुछ करके रखा हुआ है?
मैं थोड़ा पढ़ा हूँ, क्लास 10 तक
पढ़ा हुआ है।
ज़्यादा नहीं पढ़ा हूँ, थोड़ा अक्षर हम पहचानता हूँ, बस वही ये बिजनेस में हम आ गया है। यहाँ से फिर हमारा ये जो अभी ये मौसम खराब है, यहाँ से ये माउंटेन व्यू अच्छा दिखता है यहाँ से। जो अभी बर्फ के टाइम में तो ये टोटली आ जाता है।
अच्छा,
टोटली आ जाता है।
हम अभी वहाँ से आ रहे हैं, रावंगला से।
जो ये ऊपर में है ना, ये आ रहा है बर्फ, देखो ना, वाइट आ रहा है। अभी ये टोटली देखिए, ये माउंटेन है ना, ये टोटली आ जाता है, नीचे तक आता है। अब इसके तो सरकार की थोड़ा मदद मांगना चाहिए।
हाँ, नहीं क्यों, इसमें तो मिलना चाहिए, आपको मिल जाएगा, मिलना चाहिए। कोई बैंकों से भी बात कर सकते हो तो, क्योंकि आपने तो इतना कुछ पहले करके रखा है, सो इसलिए अगर बैंक वालों से भी बात करेंगे तो वो भी शायद थोड़ा उसमें वो कर सकते हैं।
मेन तो बैंक वाले के साथ बातचीत करना है, पैसा तो वहाँ से छोड़ेगा। हो गया ना, इसलिए ये भी पत्ता गिर रहा है, जो फिर हरा पत्ता आ जाएगा इसको। उसके साथ फिर बर्ड्स आते हैं यहाँ तो बहुत आता है, आपको जो मालूम नहीं होगा, उधर का है, इधर का, यहाँ इधर का ही बर्ड आता है, बहुत अच्छा आता है।
कोई नाम मालूम है?
नाम आता है इधर, केकी बोलता है, कलचूरा बोलता है, बहुत सारा बर्ड इधर आता है। लाचे बोलता है इधर का, हमारा भाषा में, जो इंग्लिश में क्या बोलता है उसका भी यहाँ बहुत आता है। पर इधर आता है ना, जो टूरिस्ट लोग आता है, जो कैमरा लेके आता है ना, यहाँ बहुत सारा आता है, यहाँ बहुत खींचा है। जो अभी ये पेड़ नहीं है, इसमें कोई टाइम में बहुत आके बैठता है ऊपर,
बैठेगा। हर रोज सुबह आते ही होंगे, वो आएंगे ही,
आता है,
उनको आना ही है। और जिन लोगों को बर्ड साइटिंग में इंटरेस्ट रहता है, उनको पता लगेगा, तो वो भी आपके पास वो आएंगे, हमको जगह दे दो, हम यहाँ रुक जाएंगे, देखेंगे।
एक बार आया था, वो जोग्राफी चैनल में भी गया, किधर नीचे उधर बाहर भी जाके आया, बोल रहा था, इधर ही बैठ के बहुत अच्छे बर्ड को तस्वीर ले लिया। उसने बोला पूरा वर्ल्ड में घूम के आया, यहाँ जैसा अच्छा खींचने के लिए नहीं।
हाँ, सो हमको भी यही लग रहा है कि
अभी फरवरी
तो अभी
फरवरी चल रहा है।
अप्रैल मई में अच्छा आता है, जो गर्मी के समय में। अभी ठंडा के समय में ये पंछी लोग भी छुप के बैठता है ना, सारा ध्यान नहीं देता है ऐसा आने के लिए। जो गर्मी के समय में इधर बहुत आता है, जो ये पैर में टोटली आ जाता है सुबह और शाम होने के समय में, जब ये धूप चला जाने के टाइम में बहुत आता है।
तो
We are on our way to Pelling.
Pelling in Sikkim offers a good view of the Kanchenjunga range if it is not cloudy.
It's raining a little bit. How far are we from Rangit?
Half an hour now.
Half an hour. Okay.
Kanchenjunga! Santosh exclaimed and stopped the car. There it was, peeking through the clouds like a beautiful Japanese painting.
The Kanchenjunga through the clouds on the way to Pelling.
"5 a.m. On the balcony of our hotel in Pelling, we looked at a clear blue sky. The whistling thrush started singing. The celestial magic is unfolding. We watch the morning sun painting the mountain ranges. There it was, over in a few minutes. We had just watched the most beautiful sunrise one had ever seen, accompanied by bird sounds all around. A clear photo of the Kanchenjunga, which I shared with friends. The feelings of awe and wonder stayed forever.
सेंचुरी पूरा 6 किलोमीटर पड़ेगा और यहाँ आप लोगों को 160 स्पीशीज अभी तो लिखा है 200 लेकिन हम लोग जितना आइडेंटिफाई किया 160 तो मिलेगा आप लोगों को ऐसा है। वो पूरा मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट करके जंगल में भेज देता है। यहाँ पर स्पेशली आप लोगों को बार्किंग डियर होता है, बार्किंग डियर और चाइनीज पेंगोलियन, पॉर्क्यूपाइन, कभी भी यहाँ पर वो लेपर्ड भी आता है। लेपर्ड और सबसे ज़्यादा यहाँ पर वाइल्ड बोर का पूरा है। वाइल्ड बोर एक जगह में 20 मिनट बैठकर वो भी हो सकता है और एक ऐसा चल के दिखता है। ऊपर में जंगल में पूरा चलना पड़ता है, आधे किलोमीटर तक चलना मिलेगा आपको और साल। और दूसरी तरफ जो रिवर साइड का है वो नीचे स्प्रिंग, उसमें आपको सब ट्रॉपिकल एरिया मिलेगा। ऐसा ही आता है।
तो ट्रॉपिकल और सब ट्रॉपिकल दोनों ही है साथ साथ।
Simul trees has got a lot of birds.
वो इसमें ये जो आवाज़ है ये सब डोंगो का है।
हाँ ये तो ये जुड़ रहा है ना।
ये स्पेकल डोंगो देखिए।
हाँ ये बैठा है। हाँ
स्पेकल डोंगो है। और इसमें जो आवाज़ छोटा आ रहा है ना,
हाँ
वो स्टैक स्पाइडर होता है। ये ग्रेट बार्बेट अभी वो उठ के चलेगा। सर यहाँ से देखिए सर, ये बाइनोक्स आइए यहाँ से। बड़ा भाई
ये कौन सी बटरफ्लाई है?
ये निम्फालाई फैमिली का है। गोल्डन मछली, हाँ ब्रीडिंग इधर करता है गोल्डन मछली।
ऐसे गोल्ड
रेड थोड़ी होता है, वहाँ सीट तो ब्लैक भी होता है, ब्लैक और थोड़ा सा
और
ये तो ornamental
कलर है ना एकदम गोल्ड जैसे होता है। आवाज आ रहा है कहाँ पर है? इस पास से आया आवाज। पाइट और ग्रेट हॉर्नबिल।
हाँ,
ओरिएंटल पाइट और ग्रेट
ओरिएंटल पाइड और ग्रेट हॉर्नबिल दोनों
में। अभी जो आवाज आया है
हाँ।
ये ओरिएंटल पाइट का है।
अच्छा,
पक्का मुझे पता है। इसमें नहीं है,
इसमें
आया।
नहीं है
वो
अभी।
अभी सीजन में आता है ना, जो विंटर सीजन में
अपने आप आ जाता है।
हाँ, अपने आप जाता है। जो बाहर का ये जो ऐसा पेड़ में बैठा होता है वो निकल के आता है, पूरा ठंडा होता है ना, इसलिए वो पूरा गुण में आता है। ये जो हाइट में
जंगली सुअर से प्रोटेक्ट किया हुआ है दिस फेंस। रिवर on the border with West Bengal.
खट्टा है।
ये माइग्रेटरी डक है कोई?
ना ना ना, ये ऐसा है। और ये वो दिख रहे हैं रेड स्टार मारिँदैछ त माछा मार्दैछ। भर्खर आएको कति माछा पर्दैछ?
ट्रेडिशनल फिशिंग।
दिख रहा है कुछ?
यहाँ का पानी बहुत ठंडा है, जो ऊपर आइस से ही आता है ना, वो हिमालय से। और ये पिकॉक है ना, ये वो सबसे ज़्यादा यहाँ का पब्लिक का पूरा खेती खत्म करता है। अभी तो वो गांव में है, जंगल में कुछ नहीं है, तो पूरा सूखा ये ट्रॉपिकल एरिया है। ज़्यादातर यहाँ बर्ड भी इंसेक्टिवोरस मिलता है, वो कीड़ा खाने का। वो फ्लावरिंग टाइम में तो ज़्यादा मिलता है।
कौन से टाइम में?
जो फूल खिलता है ना,
हाँ,
जैसे
फ्लावरिंग
ब्लैक शिवा, और ये जो हमारा ये छोटा सा फल उधर मिलता है, वहाँ थाकल का टाइम होता है, फिनोक्स उसी टाइम में आता है। अभी तो ये सीजन ही है। अभी हम लोग क्या है 2-4 दिन तक अभी तक जंगल में नहीं आया, क्या क्या किधर आया है अभी तक पता नहीं। लेकिन सीजन है इसमें, जो माइग्रेटरी बर्ड जो ऊपर से आता है, वो थंडा है। अभी जून जुलाई को तो ऊपर जाता है, 15 में एक बार आता है। अभी हम लोग जो दोस्त है वो भी आता है, देखता है अभी कैसा है यहाँ पर, कौन सा बर्ड है। अभी सीजन में हम लोग अक्टूबर में आता है, तो कभी 15 का भी ये जो सलीम अली का बर्थडे है उस टाइम में आता है। वही है, अभी वो दोस्त के साथ आता है घूमने के लिए। अभी दिखता है। अभी यहाँ से हमारा जो जितना भी सेंचुरी एरिया है वो पूरा हम लोग जाते हैं यहाँ पर।
बर्ड वॉचिंग के लिए लोकल पीपल आते हैं?
हाँ, लोकल भी आता है, लेकिन यहाँ का नहीं, वो दूसरा गांव का गैंगटोक से आता है और उधर राबुंग से आता है, सब जगह से आता है। लोकल पीपल भी आता है, और जो स्टूडेंट का है वो भी आता है, ब्लाइंड स्कूल का है वो भी आता है।
ब्लाइंड स्कूल वाला भी आता है?
हाँ, उसका हम लोग क्या है, तो उसको लेके आता है, हम लोग सिर्फ आवाज़ से उसको बताते हैं ये बर्ड है, हाँ ये ऐसा है, इसका प्रेचर ऐसा है, स्ट्रक्चर ऐसा है, ऐसे बोलता है। हम लोग ने घुमाया था उसको। और वो आर्मी का लोग आता है ऊपर से, वो आता है, वो कांटेक्ट करता है, होम स्टे भी कांटेक्ट करता है, वही बैठता है और वो सुबह को लेकर हमें आता है। और शाम का हमारा क्या होता है प्रोग्राम सोग्राम ऐसा, वो चाहे तो कल्चर मुझे चाहिए यहाँ का ट्रेडिशन, वो हम दिखा देते हैं। और ऐसा
वहाँ क्या काम देखते हो?
हम लोग जितने भी गांव का पीपल है उसका जो रिवेंस है उसमें काम करते हैं। और जितना भी गांव का सफाई जो SPM है अभी तो JJM में हम लोग वही काम करते हैं। और बर्डिंग से तो अब प्रोफेशनल तो उतना नहीं हुआ हूँ, लेकिन भी ये मेरा एक पैशन है, हॉबी है, तो इसको मैं कंटिन्यू कर रहा हूँ।
तो पंचायती राज से महीने का सैलरी मिलता है
हाँ,
या
सैलरी मिलता है।
सैलरी मिलता है?
अभी हमारे क्या 12,000 है। अब ऊपर में जाओगे इसका चेस्टनट क्रॉन लाफिंग थ्रश मिलेगा, मैगपाई तो उड़ के हरा वाला है ना, उधर देखिए। इसके साथ में
Going 1 tree at a time.
फ्लाई कैचर का।
कैनरी फ्लाई कैचर
हाँ देखो,
क्या है वो?
इंडियन चेस्टनट बैलेट नट हैच।
नट हैच।
ये दो ही हैं, एक वेलवेट फ्रंटेड और ये इंडियन चेस्टनट बैलेट। ये देखिए नहीं, ये जो
ऑन द बार्क
थोड़ा काला काला दिख रहा है।
कौन सी बर्ड थी?
नीलथावा।
नीलतावा।
नीलतावा। उसका आगे पूरा मैरून कलर और पीछे होता है ना नीला, लाल कलर का होता है पूरा स्पॉट, वाइट स्पॉट होता है ब्राउन में। इतना दूर है तो अच्छे से दिख नहीं रहा है।
पिग्मी वुडपेकर।
ये देखा, ये देखा।
प्रेस करो, प्रेस करो।
कहाँ पर प्रेस कर रहा है?
प्रेस कहाँ पर?
ये रेड बटन।
और ये जो हम लोग यहाँ पर जो ऑर्गेनिक बनाते हैं ना जाड़ वाइन, तो ये भी कम करता है। और ये जो हमारा जो मुर्गी में एक हम लोग यहाँ सुलसुले बोलता है, छोटा छोटा ठीक जैसे होता है, इसके लिए भी काम करता है। ये पूरा मिर्ची जैसा इसका गंध आता है। ये भी फन है। तो जितना भी फन का जो पढ़ते हैं ना बाहर लोग, इधर ही आता है रिसर्च करने के लिए। यहाँ फोन खाते हैं ये प्रेशर में।
Kanchenjunga waterfall. smaller waterfall.
What is that? Singik?
This place is called Singik.
Place is called Singik.
Yeah.
Nala waterfall on the way to Lachung.
We are at Bhim Nala waterfall. Oh, yeah.
Fall. Fall.
On the way to Lachung. It's a wonderful scene here. During the monsoon, the whole area is supposed to be covered with water. So you can imagine a very wide waterfall.
Very wide waterfall
Yeah.
during monsoon.
This whole area would be covered.
Oh,
That's what Santosh, our driver, says.
There is something special about this area actually. There is something special about the Bhim Nala area. Not just the waterfall is awesome. Just a half a kilometer away, there is a patch of about 5 acres of land called Khedam, which is called so because it's such fertile land. Anytime you throw a seed of anything into it, it germinates and flourishes to its full entitlement as a plant or a tree. It's so wonderful.
So people from Lachung come to Ketong to do their agriculture.
About all this cardamom. Out of this
Maybe
card.
there are also
Large cardamom. Flowering adu.
The Lepchas people, they live here. So nowadays, the Lepchas people, they are changing their religion and joining Christianity. So the government of Sikkim, they have given a particular place to the Lepchas, so that in coming days they own vanish, and join other religion.
So they're given another space.
Yeah, for the Lepchas people. Even I go inside, I need a special permit to be inside.
The suspension bridge is not working now.
Yeah, they are closed for the cars, even for the people who walk from this side, From the other side you can go.
Okay.
Okay. But we don't have permit to go to the other side.
There is a board also written here.
No, it's NSPC, National Hydraulic Power. Phone number, account number. ल म एकछिन म अहिले WhatsApp गरिदिन्छु.
It's actually the water coming from the dam is from the from the dam coming.
Which water?
Pure water.
No, it's flowing water. From the mountain. It's not forest water. We'll visit Namchi. Okay?
Okay. Teesta River. The emerald water of Tista, just above the lowest dam. All this we are seeing South Sikkim.
Sorry?
Other side of the Teesta
It's
River.
South Sikkim. That place is known as Malli.
You won't get good exposure, no? Quite easy.
That's a spring now where these people are lying.
I know.
Yeah.
Such a small.
And it goes till Ravangla. There is one.
That's very far away.
Yeah. In Ravangla there is another cave, so it dwells there. In the Ravangla cave, I went there. There is small monastery, so the monks was there. You know, I went with the monks inside the cave. It was like this, small path. I went inside, and inside it was a kind of hall, big hall. You know, natural place where more than 1,000 people they can sit inside.
My, in the cave.
And the monk
Flagship. Okay. It's flagship. Surface.
and one is in Jangu. I told you Jangu, no?
Jangu.
The other mountain in Mangan. So from Jangu it's around 1.5 hour drive. That side it's a Nepal border. So in the ending there's one very pure this water spring. Before last year I went with my cousin grandfather. I went there with my family and grandfather. I stayed there for 2-3 days. Throughout the day I used to take a review. Very clean. Even that is not allowed for the local people. Sometimes they just throw the waste. Sometimes you know the children and all they don't have some knowledge and they just throw the wrappers and all. So
Yeah, but these are sparrows.
इधर लेफ्ट साइड में देखिए, वो बहुत अच्छी तरह से बैठा हुआ है ऊपर.
This is the town of Lachung, where we stayed in a Airbnb hotel. Lachung Monastery. View of the Kanchenjunga range from inside the monastery gate. Clear morning and many of the mountains are visible. Yungthang Valley is actually about 15 kilometers further up, but we are allowed to come only up to here today because of snowfall yesterday, rain yesterday. Treetops laden with snow. People making the most of snow around. A very pretty arrangement, I think. More wildflowers. Lichen laden trees and wildflowers beginning to bloom in February. Blooming unseen, unappreciated, but look at the beauty. Most of the houses here are built of logs like this.
Pinus petula.
Okay, rescue trees.
Ganesha on top.
It's not Ganesha.
No?
It's a scorpion.
Oh.
And
yeah.
the
Now
other
that you
gods.
say so.
It's the Rinpoche, the high priest of Lachung, you know, he's like the Dalai Lama of Lachung.
Okay.
Normally, like, you know, they put these signs which you've got to put outside the house.
Now I can see.
This was also all full of Yuvina. This is Yuvina's idea, you know, to have this kind of window where you could keep a lot of plants. There's actually a herb window, but now because of winter, everything is kind of dried and finished off, just coming up. We started the house, then Minla planted this ivy, and now it has gone out of control.
Wow, yeah, it's grown so well.
Right up to the top. In 3 years' time, huh?
4 years. Now.
4 years' time.
4 years. These are fodder trees, which are related with kiwi family. Kiwi family, but it doesn't have kiwi. It has small fruits which are very tasty and early liked by birds. So people chop it off for fodder. Even this rubber tree, you know, that's also very good. So we tried to retain, and actually it was a huge tree out here which got cut by the previous owners. They thought we'll build a house here. I said, "Come se kam pooch to lete." Because of this tree I bought, you know, we decided on this place. So Gandhan and Vengan planted a people. Ye to koi nahi katega. Then at night we like check with the torchlight, you know, then they're sitting up there eating all the fruits, not at all worried, you know.
Palm civets are here. And Martins also?
Palm civets.
Okay.
Martins also.
Martins also. Okay.
So that is one landing.
Green
This is
pigeons.
one landing. So we decided to plant only on the edges. So she has a lot of space to run around. This is that saag, na, which you eat a lot. The saag jo bolte hain na,
So, mustard.
Yeah, but it's that mustard with big leaves, no?
Yeah, this is much bigger than
Yeah.
the normal.
We have been getting that saag
And
for lunch. Yeah.
My mother hates it. She says, "Din mein bhi saag, raat mein bhi saag."
Yeah.
Lemongrass plants. So these are becoming very rare in the wild because of people collecting them for commerce.
Becoming
you know.
ornamental.
Yeah, for ornamental purpose. So she bought me.
I didn't even know it's a wild plant?
It is in the wild and it's going extinct because everybody is bringing it out for horticulture purpose, you know.
Okay.
So from the forest it's almost extinct. So I've been trying to tell the department to declare it as a living fossil heritage of Sikkim, you know. If you declare it as a fossil heritage tree, then there are more chances of it getting protected. Yeah. So there's one here and one here, you know. So 2 she has given me. I'm trying to look after them. I realize there are some butterflies that breed on them, you know.
Really?
So I try to I mean get them to breed.
What are the butterflies you see here?
Plenty, no? Many butterflies. Yeah, okay. This
Something
also a
called sapphire is
rescued-
there?
Yes, sapphires are quite common here. This is a rescued tea bush from the Temi tea estate. When they were widening the roads, a lot of bushes had just fallen down, you know. So we rescued one that looked like it might survive. We had rescued an earlier one, it didn't survive.
So this is a Temi tea plant.
This is the from the Temi tea estates.
It's getting these berries also.
Yes. It's been flowering in winter for some reason. And even tree ferns. Tree ferns are living fossil ferns, you know. This one's not doing so well. This one's doing a little better. It's like this one, like the dining area, you know.
Oh, I see. And the function happens inside.
Function happens inside. And the guests are like all over the place. Some were dancing here, some were dancing up there, some were dancing everywhere. They had great fun.
That must have been such
Beautiful.
fun.
This was the kitchen, which is now Gandhan's man cave. There's tool sheds in her. And this house was not there. So
That's a nice nomenclature.
Man cave. Onions, garlic, some asparagus, celery, palak. And this is kale. Makes a lovely salad, you know, kale.
Kale looks like this.
This is one kale, this is another kale. There are 2 types of kale here.
That one we see. This I'm seeing for the first time.
Very interesting. Look at it. I mean, you can actually take and plant it and check if it grows in your place, you know. The old plant still is.
Yeah.
In fact, I just plucked from them and planted. They just keep coming up. So yesterday, Minla has been harvesting. We've been having a salad along with the Losar feast. This is that saag, no, which we've been eating. And this we kept for seed. Cabbage is almost over now. Last few cabbages. Palak. So edible flowers, you know.
From the flowers you made a picture?
Yeah, flowers, the tender shoots, the seeds. The seeds taste like wasabi. Like very mustardy flavor. Very nice. Even the flowers are very nice. Very tasty to eat if you like that kind of pungent thing.
Looking so beautiful though.
Have you tasted?
We have tasted wasabi.
Planted by the missionaries or something earlier. It's escaped into Lachung. Everywhere on the roadside it will start blooming.
What's the name, sir?
Digitalis.
Okay.
Digitoxin, you know, it's a heart.
Medicine.
Big stones which he brought himself, you know, and all these large slabs from the forest up there. We are coming to the hailstorm season actually. Yesterday in the evening we had a hailstorm. We know when all these wild primulas and all these pink ones, they'll be flowering. We know now hailstorms will come.
Your work, where you started, and what brought you to Sikkim finally.
Okay. Oh, my name is Usha Lachung. I grew up in Bombay and I grew up with the Bombay Natural History Society. So I think I developed my love of the outdoors and you know, nature from my mother who loves traveling. And when you had come to Sikkim for a natural history expedition way back in 1980, before I started my post-graduation, it was for a month-long expedition to Sikkim, where I met Gandhan. And it's been now a long time, 40 years since our first visit to Sikkim. And there's no BNHS here in Sikkim. I wanted to work on wildlife. So the only option was working with the forest department. So I joined the forest department after Minla was born. Minla and Yuina are 2 daughters named after birds of Sikkim. And I joined the department in '86 and I started doing the Asian waterfowl count. At that time just started in India. So we did the waterfall counts. I used to go out to the high altitude lakes to check on the migratory species which had come. But then I found out our lakes are only stopover sites. By the time they migrate from Siberia and the other places down into the Gangetic plains, they come through Sikkim, which is one of the very famous flyways that Dr. Salim Ali has recorded also. So they just stop over. So if I go today, like I might see, few ducks, few Brahmini ducks or some pintails. And then if I go maybe a week later, they'll have gone and some others will have come. So then I written to them, this is not the right time for us. But we could keep a track, and all these areas are under military occupation. So how we could involve them, which hasn't happened till now. But after that, then I was doing a regular wildlife surveys. I was looking for butterflies. I had tried some experimental butterfly parks, butterfly gardens actually, in a place called Saramsa and another place called 32 number. It's not like 32 mile, it's called 32 number. There is some history behind it also. There were 2 butterfly parks on an experimental basis I tried, and they did very well actually. But they are popular picnic spots, and then our department didn't have the money to sustain the efforts. But butterflies was another interesting topic, and slowly from birds, then bird watching, then butterfly watching, and then I was working in the higher altitudes. Because of migratory birds surveys, I came across this North Sikkim landscape, which is like our piece of Ladakh. We have exactly the same habitat, it's just an extension. So I had gone to the Wildlife Institute of India to do a 9-month diploma, which was meant for foresters to involve them in wildlife issues. And I found out that I was the first woman to do that course in the country, and the first non-forester to do that course. And after that, the department then gave me a vehicle, so I had finally wheels. It was very difficult to move around in a place like Sikkim. So I was exploring all these high altitude lakes, and I was in the cold desert. I was living with the nomads there, the Tibetan nomads, learning what problems they were facing, how they were actually instrumental in conserving wildlife, what difficulties they had with the place being on the international border and the defense priorities, and a whole lot of issues that they were plagued with. Slowly they were vanishing. Even the Tibetan Mastiff, which is a livestock guardian, that breed also was disappearing because a lot of mongrel pups were being taken up to the high altitudes by Jawans who needed company, but they served there only for a short time. They used to leave the dogs behind and come down. And I don't know how it sounds, but the last pure Tibetan Mastiff, which was gifted to the monastery in Thangu in North Sikkim, was eaten by the Nagakuki regiment of the Assam Rifles unit. We lost the last Tibetan Mastiff. I've written about it in the local papers, and people became interested in Tibetan Mastiffs a little bit. But then it was also they are wild dogs, they are fierce dogs. So that was one aspect. Then also I tried to take a lot of effort to try and preserve 2 lakes actually, which are sources of our river Tista, which is the principal river of Sikkim. One was a lake called Guru Dongmar, which is supposed to be a very religious lake for the Sikkimis, all the Sikkimis. It's supposed to be in the footprint of the Guru Rinpoche, who is supposed to be the guardian deity of Sikkim, the guardian patron saint of Sikkim. So that was one lake I tried to save, I would say, from a lot of anthropogenic influences. And also another, the only probably brackish water lake in the eastern Himalayas, called Gyamtsona. Again, that was a lake that had got badly disturbed because of the several issues, and in fact the lake disappeared, and we were making continuously calling for its survival. And we even got the antlers of the Sikkim stag, the extinct animal, from the bottom of that dried out lake. So then again we were taking help to see how the source of the lake could be saved and the lake replenished. It was the only brackish water lake, and over 200 pintail ducks and whole lot of birds were coming on that lake on their way down into India, and also on the return migration. So these were 2 lakes I have tried to save in Sikkim. And then now there is a very good network of people who are travel agents or different professions, young people who are interested in butterfly conservation, moths of Sikkim. In fact, my son-in-law and his another veterinary friend, two vets, have started this Facebook group called BAMOS, Butterflies and Moths of Sikkim. And they registered it as an NGO now, Nature Conservation Society, BAMOS NCF, NCS. So they are now very interested in, and they started off with photography. They found some new records for Sikkim, published them with the help of butterfly scientists like Krishna Mekunte, Peter Smitasek. So that is another thing, butterfly tourism. And birding tourism has also come up in a very nice way. When I joined Sikkim, there were no butterfly tourists, and people used to wonder why, And slowly, one young man, he did his tourism, graduation in tourism, and he's come back, and the bird guides got trained as bird guides, and they're doing very well. So slowly now butterfly tourism, bird tourism, then people are already coming in for, say, rhododendron, some people are coming just to study orchids, and of course photographers. Then scientists also, large number of scientists were visiting Sikkim, and they were applying to the department for permission. So since I was the research officer in the department, I made an issue that people from outside all benefiting from Sikkim, but Sikkim as such is not benefiting because the researchers go out, they publish their work elsewhere, and it remains outside, and the local people's capacity is not built up. And they are merely left as field assistants, research assistants, guides, cooks. They are not getting to get up to national, international class, whereas everyone else is using Sikkim to, become famous. So why not also include our people in your project? Which made me quite unpopular with the scientists actually, because they thought, what is, why I'm saying this. But slowly now our capacity is being built up, and a lot of our youngsters are also now doing very well. In Sikkim University, a lot of our own students are studying different aspects of biodiversity, and they are doing well. So they are publishing papers, so finally our capacity is being built, and all my noise for the last 30 years, finally I'm seeing it, and then I've begun, long back I've started taking a step back so that the young voices can also be heard, So it's a very good step. And then the State Biodiversity Board is there, which is also a very important organization, which is an autonomous unit, but it's in the Forest Department for now. And the Biodiversity Board is also supposed to be taking the issues to the grassroots levels, where they are supposed to document their wildlife, their birds, butterflies, crops, pests, fishes, plants, everything in what are called biodiversity registers. And that becomes like their intellectual property. So even if a researcher comes, needs to take the approval of the Biodiversity Management Committee and do the research, so that the information remains the intellectual property of the native people. And whether it is even, I would say, people are studying glaciers and people are studying hot springs for the microflora and fauna. So even for that, we are trying to see if the intellectual property can remain with the state as well as with the scientists who study.
And you are managing ensuring that everything is properly documented.
We are trying.
That is what has been the weakness as far as
exactly.
work in India is concerned.
True.
Documentation wasn't happening.
Yes. So it's going on very slowly at the moment, but now, at least from the central government, also from the ministry, there's been this kind of thing, you have to have BMCs at all the Gram Panchayat units. It's now become mandatory, and there is a lot of, I think, punitive measure if you're not doing it. So we are going ahead with that. The local people are also realizing, that several things are there within their control. You don't have to depend on the government for everything. So it's not just birds, like for example, when you came in the morning, we had our first flock of this season of the Himalayan parakeets, the slaty-headed parakeets. So, we are looking at them. I saw the children also pointing out, so people are becoming aware. And then we were talking about, edible flowers, like I was pointing out these nasturtiums, even these sag, this mustard seeds, leaves, flowers, fruits, which we can use, for our own purpose, and to have this local knowledge. You don't have to keep buying things from outside. You have your own diversity, which is so good. And Sikkim is just 7,096 square kilometers. But the diversity it has, just the bird life is supposed to be like, 60% of the entire
It's continental size, in fact, yeah.
True. Yeah. And even if you look at the protected areas, we have the best protected area network in the country. We have over 40% of our state which is under wildlife protected area network. and in fact over 80% of the state is under the jurisdiction of the forest department, and of which like now the national park and its surrounding areas have been declared, the national park has been declared a World Heritage Site for nature and culture. It's the first time it has been, in India, I think this has been declared, because it's the culture that has been protecting the biodiversity, and for us the mountain is the sacred landscape. The entire Sikkim Himalayas, it's the sacred landscape concept which has helped in conserving. So we find that a lot of attention, like everybody is coming to Sikkim. It's an organic state. We have banned plastic packaged drinking water. We have banned styrofoam products. We are doing a whole lot of stuff, but still the influx of tourists, it's unregulated most of the time.
It's very large.
So we are finding it very difficult to manage, because tourists, they are now used to that lifestyle where you want tissue papers, you want packaged food, you want everything sanitized. So that the tourism industry is actually contributing a lot to non-biodegradable waste, which is not being very difficult to recycle or to even, I would say, segregate and collect, because people are still not up to that mark, why we need to do this, how we need to do this. So we have this wonderful initiative started by various local NGOs and national NGOs like WWF, and we have local NGOs like ECOS, Ecotourism and Conservation Society of Sikkim, and they are all involved, along with Darjeeling and other states. And actually it's a pan-Himalayan thing. From Ladakh to Arunachal Pradesh, there is a zero waste Himalaya initiative. Through that, we are trying to see how people can segregate their waste, and multi-layered packaging like this chips and all, Lays, these kind of companies which come up with this multi-layered packaging, which is not recyclable as far as we know. People just dump. So there's this wonderful initiative also called the Himalayan Cleanup, which happens in March on one particular day, when across Himalayas on that day people are out there not just collecting, they're segregating, they're also writing down how much, they're weighing it, and they're also writing down the companies.
I see.
The brands, so
brand
you have a brand audit, you have a waste audit, you have a brand audit. So you actually find out who are the most polluting companies and how we can have that, the producers like the concept where they can take back their packaging and recycle. So it's a long way to go, but Sikkim has been really bearing the brunt. When tourists come, all you see is this wonderful landscape. But if you look in the corners, if you look at your feet, it's not all.
Yeah,
like
I
we want it to be.
have myself noticed that in many places, with a view to increasing access to tourists, we are ending up overburdening these tourist centers and probably making it more and more difficult for them to be what they are supposed to be.
True.
So, is there some kind of a task force that has been set up by the government of India, for example, to establish what is the optimum capacity of some of these hill stations and popular destinations, so that the influx of tourism can be controlled to the extent possible? Of course, you can't stop anyone going anywhere. This is a free country, but even then, maybe the premiums, on those visits can start going up, becomes more expensive, so that the burden doesn't start ruining the place.
I'm sure a lot of initiatives are being taken, elsewhere. In Sikkim, I find that it's the local people, the local government, the local traders, who actually are slowly getting sensitized. And in fact, the government has taken up several of these interesting initiatives, like the bans, on packaged drinking water. No, during public functions, you don't have it, government functions. And not burning agricultural waste. This actually we've been doing way before actually the rest of the country started doing it.
Is it possible to establish a systemic approach to building what you have, to replicate what you have in Sikkim? Sikkim does seem to have succeeded much better than the others. Is it possible to develop a documented approach paper which can be implemented in various other places, and this whole thing can be replicated there, these practices, best practices?
I'm sure. Because it's after all it's
Maybe
a
you are the person
learning
who can.
experience. No, not me. There are so many other now young people involved in this. So many organizations are involved in this now, and it's a learning process. It's what we can learn from others, so others can learn from us. So it's a kind of sharing experiences which are actually going to take us forward. The trading community, the hoteliers and restaurants associations, the travel agents and their associations, the adventure tourism associations, the whole lot of associations need to take it up more seriously, you know, and they are, many of them are.
The
But
level of awareness here in Sikkim seems to be very high,
More-
in fact. I'm very impressed with common people, the kind of involvement they have and the kind of commitment they are showing to the
and the sad part of it is, you know, many of our local villagers, you know, have these beautiful traditional houses. They are now catering to tourism by tearing down those old houses and making buildings which are cemented, cold, you know, not at all comfortable, but they accommodate more tourists. So how that trend can be reversed is going to be very difficult and probably not possible. So as an example, like we are trying to build a small wooden house in Lachung. Gandhan, my husband, he's a Lachung Pa. So in his village, he's trying to build a traditional wooden house. So at least there will be something left, you know, the tradition in the house. Because the traditional houses are meant to keep people warm, meant to be maintainable, you know, sustainable. So that if we lose, you know, then we lose a lot of the beauty of Sikkim. You know? Yes, I mean we are, I think, far ahead of other states. But still, our problems for our small size are big for us. You know? And we hope that more of these high-value tourist ventures like birding, butterflies, orchids, rhododendrons, village homestays, you know, this comes up, brings in, you know, quality tourists and not quantity tourists that is happening elsewhere. So that is one big effort. At the same time, most of our areas are with 3 international borders. So we got to worry about that all the time. You know, the amount of labor force that's coming in to maintain the roads, you know, the high altitude areas, the issues there would be another full chapter to talk about. Native population is very small, very small. It's the influx and the other issues that have actually added to our burden, of which we really are unable to do anything at present. But as more of the younger generation is becoming aware, you know, I see a positive sign where the elders like my generation have spoiled the place, but the younger generations are woken up to the fact.
That's our blessing.
Really.
The younger generation developing interest in
Yes.
all of this is a blessing.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's our generation has gone and ruined everything. We wanted the easier lifestyle, we
Yes.
wanted to be Western, you know, and then now the younger generation is understanding, seeing the issues, and you know, is doing.
Yeah, and they make no bones about it.
Yeah.
If-
So it's a very positive
Yeah.
sign, I feel. You know.
Yeah, that's really nice. You have a great handle on the whole thing. Fantastic perspective. And I hope this can keep spreading all over, and what you do here can be replicated in all of the other states as well.
The way to go forward is to listen to the young ones, you know. Thank you for,
Thank
you know.
you so very much. It's been so educative. Wonderful talking to you.
Thank you so much. And I'm glad that you took all the trouble to come out here, you know, to talk. And I hope you had a wonderful holiday. Though it's been cold and snowing and it's been
I think
nice.
meeting you has kind of been
Ended your holiday on a good note.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
That's